My cat.
Oh, wow. CJ's in the shirt. I got that shirt.
I got a new shirt.
Are we allowed to wear? I wasn't sure if we're allowed to talk about it yet or to show it yet.
What, that shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Let's see it. Give us a model. Give us a spin. I'm
I
pretty sure
forget-
the back is just white. But
I
yeah,
forget
that's
the
nice.
name of the shoot. The artist is William somebody, right? Do you have him? Do you have the card?
Postcard is in my kitchen. I can.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it because I got the DMs anyway. Because we posted the one, or I posted one on Instagram.
Very cool shirt.
Very cool shirt. Too many shirts. I got too many shirts.
Oh, I have a whole closet. Keith Warren Greeman, Greiman. Thank you, Keith. Keith was part of a Sixers art show at a gallery in Philadelphia that I will find, Fairmount something, with Heavy Slime, who was doing the Live Ricky 5, one of the Live Ricky 5 shirts, and offered to send us shirts. So,
hell yeah.
I told CJ I didn't ask your guys' permission. I know we all like free T-shirts, and hoped that he wasn't going to murder any of us, and he did not as of yet.
I will say this was a nice touch, but a bit alarming that he hand wrote my address and stuff at first. So whenever like we get things before, it's normally printed, and I'm assuming it's from like one of the sponsors somewhere. But this being handwritten, I don't recognize the name. I'm like,
wow.
They
CJ doesn't like a personal touch.
No, it was nice. It was sweet, but how does he know where I'm at?
Yeah, sweet in like a murderous way. I
Yeah.
get it.
That's right.
Oh, wow. Wait, this is not Sixers related, but just pretty good. The Dallas Mavericks plan to file, this is from Shams, to the NBA a formal protest of their 2-point loss to the Golden State Warriors tonight, with focus on alleged referee mistake that led to 2 free Warriors points late in the third quarter.
Was this when they were not guarding their own basket? Did you see that?
No, I wasn't.
They didn't know which basket they were guarding. Yeah, they were on the wrong side of the court.
I wonder if that was it.
Yeah,
pretty good. I like a formal protest.
Yeah,
I always have.
Yeah, we've been formally protesting the Sixers for 10 years.
That's right.
Nothing has come of it.
No one has recognized it. This is ridiculous.
All right, here we go. Boy. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. Mortgage CS. Become a Mortgage CS Ricky VIP by going to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Body Bio. Get 20% off any Body Bio order by going to bodybio.com and using promo code FIRECJ at checkout. That is FIRECJ. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter, was statesidevodka.com. On the show today, well, it wouldn't be the Sixers if it wasn't weird. The Sixers, after losing to the Bulls, come back and beat the hell out of the Bulls. But all the while, Joel Embiid doesn't come out to the second half, while feeding Kate Scott weird lies about why he's not. So we'll dive into that and his calf tightness. He was playing really well, though. Really cool. It was really cool. Anyway, James Harden also with an injury to his calf as well. That seems curious. They both have calf injuries. What else? Sixers chances for the 2 seed. I have one more thing to mention about Mr. JJ Redick. We will finally get deep into the Ringer Top 100 and your voicemails and emails. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. We are closing in on 9,000 subscriptions. And if we do not get to 10,000 by the time the playoffs start, CJ will be fired. So if you're watching on YouTube now, or if even you're not watching right now, if you're watching later, go to YouTube, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I did mention Stateside Vodka. I have not had a drink of alcohol since Lent began, and my first drink will be the night of Live Ricky 5, and it will be a Stateside. I'm trying to decide whether I want the vodka soda, the Surfside iced tea and vodka, the Surfside iced tea lemonade and vodka, or just straight Stateside vodka as I normally drink it, vodka and water. I have a couple weeks to decide. You, however, can drink whenever you'd like. Go to statesidevodka.com order some of those teas. They're tasty. The peach tea, maybe just the lemonade and vodka. You got to be 21. StatesideVodka.com. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here.
Say the name. I say the name. I say the name.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Say the name. I say the name. I say the name. Say the name.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who will not return for the second half because of the giant discrepancy of the scores of the two teams. That is one Mike Levin.
What a night on Sixers Twitter. It was a good one. Feels like it's been a while since we had like a night.
Yes.
And this is nice. This is nice. Like the Sixers up by 1,000 early.
Yeah.
Starting up 17-0, very funny. Starting up 23-1.
Also fun.
Significantly funnier.
Yeah.
And then Joel just doesn't come out for the second half. He just doesn't come out. Never came out. Never saw him again. Never saw him again.
The funniest part was, okay, so he's not out there.
Yeah.
And, Kate and Ala are like, yeah, Paul Reed's starting the second half. And he's like, that it? There's the guy that Paul Reed is playing in place of is the MVP, and he's not there. And then minutes go by, and they actually had the nerve to go, "Hey, DeMar DeRozan won't return for the second half. He's got a sore quad." And you're like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" So the Twitter thing starts going crazy, and people are like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And Kate comes on and goes, "Whew, everyone relax. Don't worry. The Sixers just told us Embiid's not going to come back because they're up by so many points."
Yeah, there's 24 minutes left in the game. The Sixers are up 24. No one's ever blown a lead that big. Seems like it'll be fine. We always do this. Yeah. Embiid, if you'll recall, in the playoffs last year, they were up, I think, 27 or 28 against Toronto with a couple minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Embiid still in the game, took an elbow from Pascal Siakam, missed the rest of the Miami game. But yeah, normal stuff.
Yeah.
They're up by a plenty. Who gives a shit? You guys are fine. Stop freaking out. Very fun. So then the Sixers announce after the game, they're like, okay, we're ready to not be lying anymore.
Yeah.
They say, sorry. Let me take my lying hat off.
Yeah.
And they say it's simply mild calf soreness, and he's planning on expected to play Friday against Golden State. Which, do I say, how mild is mild? People have different definitions of mild when it comes to spicy food. I would like to know a specific spicy level on Embiid's calf before I feel any level of confidence.
Yeah, I want to also note that Kate and Ala doubled down on the original reason at one point. And the weirdness in their voice, they were like, look, if this were a playoff game, he, most likely would be here.
If the team was in trouble, he'd come back, I'm sure. They're just trying to do their best. They don't have information. They're just doing what I would be saying if I was live on the broadcast talking to normals. I would be saying the craziest shit and have to apologize constantly for it. So I definitely can't begrudge them for saying whatever they're saying here, trying to just get by. But Allah being like, look, read my body language. And it's like, buddy, you're not on screen. You should know you're not on screen. We can't see you. If you were on screen and you gave us like a wink, then it'd be like, okay, there's something we can convey. But they were mostly just ignoring it. And so hard to know.
Yeah.
Hard to know. I think it's going to be fine. At this point, like we've dealt with so many like Joel injury scares that it doesn't even register with me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't even feel fear. I just feel like this is it is. I've become like detached from it a little bit. But I don't know. I think it's probably fine.
Yeah, well, I got to say, I'm not a huge fan of the soft tissue injury because...
I disagree.
Really? You're a fan
I
of
love
soft
them.
tissue injury?
Nice and soft. Softer the better.
Only because, and especially in the calf, because I always think of Achilles is what I think of.
Yeah, well, Harden
And
when
Harden,
it said he was out today, it said Harden parentheses Achilles, which is never a fun word to say.
And then, by the way, Harden was on the bench for the first half and then was not on the bench for the second half. Maybe showing Embiid where his Achilles is. I don't know.
I was imagining something where like Harden was like, yo, we're up a bunch. You just want to like go somewhere? And they just like leave and don't tell anybody. And they couldn't find him. I was imagining something like that. But
that would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it definitely was some level of a scare or just they didn't know. And everybody tweeting, what the fuck? All the reporters, everybody just being like, no one is telling anybody. It's definitely weird. It's definitely weird. There's a chance that like it said expected to play Friday. There's a chance that in like the dead of night they announce like something worse. But
what if
I don't know?
We've been
through worse. Whatever happens, we've been through it. We'll be fine.
What if the game starts on Friday and Paul Reed is starting and no one makes mention of it?
Starting center Paul Reed. Embiid, he'll be out eventually. Just give him a little time.
If this were a playoff game, he would most likely
He'd be watching. Yeah. He'd be watching, at least.
Yes.
He'd be in a jersey. Doc Rivers this is Newbeck. Doc Rivers on his level of concern re Embiid. Not much. Not at all, really. I think he'll be ready for next game. Whenever you hear calf, you just say, that's it. But not concerned. Okay. Okay. Okay.
You know, like, here's the thing. We get so much, we get credit oftentimes from the fans of other teams who listen to our podcast. And they always say, I feel like I hear the same thing all the time. They'll say, I'm not a Sixers fan. I'm a Blazers fan or whatever, the Hornets fan. We don't have anything really like you guys. And the reason that you don't have anything like us is because there's no other franchise that specifically feeds their podcasters shit like this on such a consistent basis. There's simply no one that has the material. Our source material is amazing. It's like they give us the best script. They've given us the best writers, the best story, and all we're doing is reacting to it. That's it. So I feel jealous for the podcasters of other teams whose best players come out for the second half and you don't have to worry about it. Or when their best players don't come out, they specifically say what the reason is.
We're very lucky. Bodner on the broadcast, Doc Rivers said he expects Harden, parentheses Achilles, scary, parentheses, to be back for Friday's game against the Warriors, but I can't guarantee that. We're going to do whatever we can to be healthy. So, that's something.
Probably not going to beat the Warriors at Golden State without Harden and Embiid is just one.
Yes, they're one of the best home teams in the league and one of the worst road teams. It's so bizarre. A great AU tweet about how the organizational principle behind this that unites these Sixers is lying. But I think it's always. I think that they're saying he says this specific year's top to bottom commitment to lying. But I think it's perennial. I think since we started doing the podcast, they have been famously lying and caught lying over and over again repeatedly.
Yeah.
Did you know that they interviewed 75 candidates for Brian Colangelo's job?
I remember getting, and on the whole, they've been respectful of us and good to us. I will give the organization credit for sure. That, some people who aren't here anymore didn't like us very much, talked about us maybe stealing money from charity on the internet.
Yeah.
Maybe,
where would you say that person's feet are at this point?
No, that's actually a different person.
Oh, yeah, that's Brian. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
it's
right.
Colangelo.
You're right. You're right.
So at one point during the Fultz thing, we got a Twitter DM with like pictures of him shooting like on his back in some South Jersey high school gym, and like shooting with a giant basketball and like, on roller skates. Like it was all this weird shit. And I reached out and I was like, hey, we got these pictures of Fultz like, doing all this weird shit. And they were like, yeah, actually, we totally know about that. It's totally fine. And I was just like, you're lying.
Yeah.
You didn't know about this and it's not fine. He's not with your people. Anyway, are we going to talk about
The game.
The game? All right. Let's get LL out of the way and then we'll talk about the game. I offer congratulations to LL Pavorsky Jewelers as LL celebrated 35 years in business at 707 Walnut. 35 years for LL Pavorsky. I know if you're listening to this podcast, you're like, LL just started when the podcast started. In many ways, that's true. But the actual brick and mortar store was there long before. If you're going to buy any type of jewelry, most specifically an engagement ring, there is no one else you can go to but LL Pavorsky Jewelers. In fact, if you're at the store by appointment only and he does not come out for the second half, he will specifically give you a real reason why he's not there for the second half.
That's right.
He won't just tell the broadcasters to lie for you. 313, 312, something like that. Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners have purchased engagement rings from LL, all of them thrilled. One Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcaster has purchased an engagement ring from LL, as well as wedding bands. That is Mike. For me, several anniversary gifts, birthday gifts for my lovely wife, Valerie. For you, engagement ring, whatever you need. LL, he's the guy. If you want to buy an engagement ring, you got to make an appointment because he wants to be able to give you person-to-person service. 215-627-2252, Lee at llpavorsky.com, or tweet at him at llpavorsky, a generous supporter of our charities, Providence Animal Center and the Mamatis Community Fridge. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
He's always there for you, and when he's not, let's just hope he's taking a huge shit.
The first half was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was Embiid, point guard Embiid, again, 7 assists in the first half. Also, a couple of hockey assists in there, too. The Embiid getting double teamed at the nail, shooting it off to the wing or whatever, and then getting the wide open corner three is a thing I've seen a lot when it's the Embiid-centric non-hardened offense, which we saw. And it was a particularly fantastic first half from Paul Reed, as he was just so much of him in in his minutes. He has the highest per 36 Paul Reed of anyone in the NBA.
Hands down. Hands down. It's overwhelming. His Paul Reed is overwhelming.
Yep.
Embiid first, he really does love to distribute now. Like since Simmons is gone, and I think playing with Harden has sort of shown him the ways he can distribute. And I think made him into a better, at least seeing the floor type passer. His passes sometimes, because of the shape of his hands or something, are still very bizarre. There was a play from a couple weeks ago we actually didn't talk about it on the podcast, but where he threw the ball so bad out of bounds, missed by like several dozen feet. And just once in a while you're going to get that from Embiid. But as far as like seeing the court, really loves to distro when James is out. I mean, truly, like how many assists he had? Seven assists in 16 minutes.
Yeah.
He's having a blast. I thought that him and Tobias had a nice rhythm together tonight. It just felt like they were like on the same page in a good way, which is funny because earlier in the game, Embiid did smack the shit out of him by mistake going up for a rebound.
Yeah.
And then
elbow,
tried to
right in the cheek. Yeah.
And then tried to pay him back with an alley-oop dunk that they couldn't connect on. But never Tobias with a partner in transition. It's just not going to work out. But yeah, I mean, Embiid, he's the man. Like he can do anything. It really starts to remind you of Like obviously I wasn't alive for this, but there was the season that like Wilt Chamberlain was like, I'm just going to average 10 assists per game.
Yeah.
And then he did. And it's like, that's crazy. Embiid could do that if he wanted to. He's incredible. He's just on another level right now. And it's like, it's frustrating that he played so well in the first Bulls game and they didn't win that game, because if anybody else plays decent, then they win. But yeah, he's just the best player in the league.
You mentioned the Tobias and Embiid rhythm. There's one thing that happened. I don't think it happened more than twice, but it reminded me of Clippers Tobias. And by the way, Bodner posted a thing. I don't think I read the accompanying article, just talking about Sixers' percentage of shots off the catch. It was amazing to see Tobias Harris's has gone in the last 2 years from like 21% to 75%.
Yeah.
And every time that we complain that he's drifting back, just to think about the amount of change that he has gone through is pretty amazing. But so Clippers Tobias was ball handler pick and roll Tobias a lot.
Yeah.
Now, that was not a great Clippers team, but he seemed pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. And there was one pick and roll with Tobias as the ball handler that almost seemed Harden-esque in that it worked in the same way. He hit Embiid 13 feet away. Yep. Embiid had a wide open jumper. And I just
Tobias called for the pick for it also. And Embiid was like, all right, this fucking guy, I'm going to set picks for. I'll set picks for Harden, sometimes Maxey, but like now this guy I have to fucking set picks for. But he was like, okay, at least I'm getting the ball out of it. That's fine.
Yeah, it was nice. It was just nice to see that action, because you would have at one point imagined that would have been something that they could run. I imagine, to your point, that Embiid is not thrilled setting picks for literally everybody, but it looked kind of nice. It worked.
No, but I mean, Tobias was awesome. He was awesome tonight. He was in the first half. When the game was never really competitive, but he finishes 20 points on 5 of 9 shooting. Got to the line, was hitting shots off the catch. One time he had a off the catch, Beverly was right in front of him, and it's totally the kind of thing where when he's going wrong, he's pump faking that and going or backing him down from 25 feet and wasting the shot clock and just thinking about stuff. But the pass, I forget who threw it to him, but it caught him right in the shooter pocket. He rose up and it bounced off the rim several times, and the rim rewarded Tobias for taking the right catch and shoot 3 by going in. And it was awesome. I mean, he came very close to getting a triple double. He was a plus 40, which is a wild number. I wanted him to get the triple double. I was a little annoyed that Doc didn't keep him in the game for it. It felt like a very un-Doc move to like pull him with 3 minutes left to be like, he could really 2 assists, 1 rebound. He can get there.
By the way, another reason to your just talking about statistics, another reason that it was absolutely impossible that Embiid was not returning to the game is because if there's anyone in the world that wanted Embiid's 30-point streak to continue, it's fucking Embiid.
100%. Or at the very least, like he'll play like the first 6 minutes of the second half, and he gets a triple double out of it. And he can go like, all right, fine, that's fine, whatever, I can sit now. But yeah, something definitely was up. It wasn't like the idea that be like, that's fine, it's fine. Yeah. You get home and the door's wide open. You're like, yeah, we probably just forgot to close the door.
Yeah, it was open the whole time. It was wide.
We always leave the door open. It's probably fine. It's probably totally normal. But yeah, I thought it was a great Tobias game, and this didn't happen on a pod night, but 3 dunks for Tobias in a very short amount of time in that first Bulls game.
Yep.
I got several dozen.
To the pod.
Yes, absolutely. I got several dozen people tweeting at me about that. It's great.
Yeah.
He didn't get one tonight. He came close a couple times. But he is. I think he's 9 away with 10 games left. So we got to get him there. We just got to get him there.
9 away with 10 games left. Oof. That's, he could go 3 or 4 games in a row without a dunk. That's the thing.
But not if he listens to this podcast.
No, he knows he needs to do it. And by the way, 2 games in a row for DeAnthony Melton, just drilling threes. You know what I mean? Both Bulls games, Melton came up big. He still is we joke about Giannis having no bag. Melton truly just has no bag at all with the ball, really. Like, I'm terrified every time he's dribbling and trying to do anything. Like, he's okay. He's not a bad ball handler, but he doesn't seem like he knows exactly what he wants to do. He's a good like point A to point B guy, but when he starts moving around, I get nervous. But very, Maxey had a couple of off weeks, and then Melton had a few off weeks, and they're both cooking at the same time, which is good.
Yeah, it's nice to see them both playing well at the same time. I think, he's definitely a straight line driver, but he rarely tries to do, except for a couple of crazy finishes, he rarely tries to do too much. He has a nice little crossover that he can occasionally get guys on, but that's pretty much it. He's automatic from deep these days. Like, he's just automatic. He's 4 of 9 tonight. He has been. We talk a lot about it. Really, Covington was the perennial guy for this. Of like, 40% shooters do not always shoot 40% from three.
Yeah.
But if you look at his, as in like all the time, they shoot 50% one time, they have 20%, whatever. But
good month.
Every month this season, except for one, DeAnthony Melton has been over 40% from three for the month. That's a crazy level of consistency. And he's just stepping into whatever, like whether it's in transition, he's from a full sprint, or if he's backing into something, or the occasional off the dribble thing. Like, he's turned himself into, like, from the guy he was when he got drafted, a really, really good, dependable, consistent. Like, his form looks the same every time. Just a really good shooter, and that's really helpful. He's a totally like Hall of Fame type role player for me. I like love this. I love role players that play defense and get rebounds. He had a huge rebound over Andre Drummond, who is not a good rebounder. He's just tall. Which a huge rebound over Andre Drummond, and then a putback hook over Derek Jones, who's a tough guy to score against because he's so long and jumpy. And then he flexed after. That was nice. And I just really love he's been getting steals like crazy and coming around like when guys aren't looking, like poking him from behind and everything. And I love how much he and Maxey like each other. I love it. I truly love it. That it's a borderline like body language Mike, vibes Mike type thing, which I haven't been as much the past year or two. But like, these two guys could have had like some sort of issue with each other, getting benched for one another. Doc, on a worse team or on a different set of guys, like there being a rivalry or jealousy between the two of them, but they always have like a blast around each other, and you can tell like they're fucking with each other in post-game interviews, and like when one person doesn't make a shot, the other person's like giving him shit for it in a fun way. Like it's awesome, and I love both those guys. I hope that they're both here for a really long time. Obviously, I want to get to B-ball, Paul, but really quickly, Maxey. I was hoping that this would be the game that Maxey starts to like, because we've seen flashes of it, but I want to see him where he's like, no Harden, I'm the point guard of this team. I'm going to be the guy to
it's not
really
natural
distribute
for him at all.
But it's not natural. He can make those passes sometimes, but he's such a mindset guy, and I think Doc like puts this mindset into him also sometimes, where he's like, we need you to score, look for your shot, get into a rhythm, get to the rim, all that stuff. But really, like the guys that were distributing was Embiid and Tobias, and extremely bizarrely, maybe it's because they just had they had 76 points in the first half, but that was the season high in assists for the first half that the Sixers have had this season, and the most assists they've had in a half since 2019 per Kate Scott, which is crazy to do that without James Harden, who's leading the league in assists. But Max, he's just a scorer right now, and he can still make a couple of passes, but really his mindset is still scoring. And I love watching him get his puppies organized when he gets his feet together for three. The floaters from the corner when he's coming in baseline, and there's a guy on his hip, and then there's a big guy stepping up in front of him. That's not a shot that human beings should be capable of making. That is such a difficult shot. He's got a guy he's getting boxed in between those two guys and the sideline and the side of the backboard. There's not like a backboard to help him if he hits front rim and goes out. It is such a tough shot, and he makes those all the time. It is a wild shot. He is such a special player, and I really like. We've been on the defense for Maxey for a while. Forces a steal on an inbounds pretty early in the game on Pat Beverly, and he forces a backcourt violation on I think it was Ayad Dosunmu. It might have been Kobe White. Really nice, just a bunch of good stuff. He's just doing a bunch of good stuff these days, and I love the guy. I love the kid. He's awesome.
Statement from Kate Scott about her mid-game announcements. This is directly from Kate Scott's Twitter. Hey, Sixers fans. I was having some fun on here with y'all because of the score tonight, but know that one of the first rules of broadcasting is never speculate on an injury. So if I ever mention an injury or a guy not returning or any of it that comes 100% from a team official, that's why I said the first time I stated it, and multiple times after, according to a team official and per a team official, you never guess as an announcer. Cool. Love y'all and your passion for this team. 7 in a row on the road to San Francisco we go. On that note, we found out post-game from the team and then reposted Keith Pompey's mild right calf tightness tweet. Kate, don't worry about it. I don't think anyone specifically blamed you for that. It was just funny that you were their messenger in this.
They're put in a tough position. There's nothing for them to do.
Yeah.
If they go like, I don't know why they're not fucking telling us anything. Like you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You get fired.
Yeah.
But that's what I would say. And that's why I don't have that job.
B-Ball Paul was pure chaos tonight. There was a moment where Tobias got pretty mad at him during the last game. He had a couple of he had a couple of moments in the last game, but I thought this game he was particularly good. Couple of offensive rebounds, chaos everywhere. That block was a real block.
Absolutely.
That got called goaltending for. He was great.
And that
a jump stop.
The jump stop also should have given it to him.
Yeah, it was close enough.
It was close enough. You should have given it to him. There's plenty of guys. Korkmaz walked at the end of the game. They didn't call that. I wish they called the Korkmaz walk instead of the B-Ball Paul little like crow hop walk.
Yeah.
That was tough for me. Yeah, absolutely not a goaltend. Ridiculous. I think that should be something that, look, it's early in the game, whatever, but like that's what the challenge is for.
Never going.
But it is truly 2 points. But like it's not like it's a foul call. It's not whatever. It's like literally 2 points. You can have. Do you want to keep them from getting 2 points, or do you want to save it for some like mystical future that might be something? Joel didn't even play the fucking second half, so he wasn't using it for Joel. So it should have. When you can get 2 points back, you use it. It doesn't matter when in the game it is. It doesn't matter where. You get the 2 points back, and that's it, and that's fine. That's what it should be all the time.
Doc would rather take the challenge and give it to the other team
I know.
rather than use it on
You're
ball.
100% right. I'm not arguing what Doc would say. I'm saying that he's wrong to say it and think it. Because 2 points is 2 points, and also B-Ball Paul deserved that block. That was ridiculous.
Doc if you gave Doc a jigsaw and you were like, all right, the options are somebody random pisses in your food once a year, or you have to use a challenge on B-Ball Paul. He would take
piss food all the time. He was awesome tonight. He was awesome.
Yeah.
He's the man, dude. He's just the man on the offensive glass all the time. He's been getting offensive rebounds and passing out of it, not just doing like crazy B-Ball Paul stuff where he tries to like whirlwind in for a layup, which he can also do and he should do. But he's been passing out of it, being a good boy that Doc doesn't get upset about. Found Shake for an N once tonight. That was nice. Had a transition Euro dunk off of a Melton steal and fast break. That was really nice. I love the dunk off of that, not just a little soft layup. Like if you can dunk, you should be dunking. Joel needs to do that more often as well. And someone tweeted at the Ricky account a couple weeks ago about this, and I just checked it tonight to make sure. B-Ball Paul Reed. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this to him with a live show.
Okay.
So this is a little head time.
He's going to be at Live Ricky 5, by the way.
He's going to be at Live Ricky 5. He didn't get traded, thank God.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would have been the victory tour with fucking George Niang or fucking me.
Yeah.
He is the Sixers' all-time franchise leader in offensive rebound percentage. All time. In the history of the organization. Let me go 4-1. 4, Charles Barkley at 13.5%. 3, Reggie Evans. His only NBA skill was getting offensive rebounds. 3rd all time in Sixers history. 2, Moses fucking Malone at 15.5%. B-Ball Paul. Moses 2, 15.5. B-Ball Paul 1 at 17.1%. And he had 2 more tonight. He is a stunningly good basketball player that makes things happen everywhere. You can switch with him. You can play drop with him because he's great. He's a great shot blocker at the rim. He should have had another one tonight. He had one on Levine. He should have had another one on Kobe White. He's just awesome. He shoots 40% from 3 in the G League. Next season I want to start to see that fucking translate. I want to. I love the guy. He's the man. if Doc benches him at any point in the playoffs, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. He's
I don't think he
awesome.
will.
He's historically good now. We can say that. He's just a special little weirdo. I love him. I'm so happy he's here. I'm so happy he's the starter or the main bench guy for Joel. And I totally, if like in the right situation,
Oh no.
absolutely play him at the 4 sometimes.
Oh yeah. That's
Once in a while, when they need a burst of energy and you don't want to take Joel out, absolutely put B-Ball Paul in at the 4. You can do that. He needs to be able to. That has to be a card that Doc can play in the playoffs. I want to see it. Anyway, B-Ball Paul's the best.
He will be at Live Ricky 5. And I know you're saying, well, there's only going to be a few hundred people at Live Ricky 5. Well, the good news is, thanks to Mortgage CS, Live Ricky 5 will be shot professionally on video and released a few days later. Have CJ fucking fix it up, and it'll be all on YouTube. We'll do a special YouTube premiere right as the first round begins. So thank you to Mortgage CS. You might not know the CS in Mortgage CS stands for calf soreness. It is actually mortgage calf.
And mortgage stands for mild.
Yeah. CS stands for concierge service, because they are going to fucking take care of you like a concierge does. Mortgage CS is a mortgage broker, not a lender. So you're not getting the money directly from Mortgage CS. What Mortgage CS's job is to do is, when you need a mortgage, or whether you want to refinance, whatever it is, they go to all the banks and they find you the best rate. And I know when you Google it, you see the rate. The rate that you see when you Google is not always the rate. The rate that you see the banks advertise is not always the rate. They're like, there's another quarter point on that, blah, 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 blah. The good thing about Mortgage CS is they figure that shit out. They explain it to you in human terms, and that way you know. They're also independent, meaning they do not have any secret ties to any of these banks. So the only person they're working for is you. I love Mortgage CS. Every listener who has gone to Mortgage CS has come back to us and said, everything you said about Mortgage CS, I wouldn't even think about using anybody else. Also, a couple people who already had a mortgage lender lined up, there's nothing saying that you can't get a second opinion. You can't go to Mortgage CS. They're responsive, they are honest, they're independent, and they have a cool Ricky site. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky, mortgagecs.com/Ricky. You can set up your consultation there. You can also see the cool site they set up for us. Or I want you to take this number down. It has been the CEO's cell phone number. I want you to text, if you're listening right now live or watching on YouTube, I want you to text Ben and ask him what happened, why Joel Embiid didn't come out for the second half right now. 267-391-7425. That is 267-391-7425. That's Ben's cell number. They're always going to be available for you, because when you're buying a house, you need your mortgage person to always be available for you. Again, mortgagecs.com/Ricky, mortgagecs.com/Ricky, or call or text Ben anytime at 267-391-7425. So many Ricky listeners happy. And thank you to Mortgage CS for presenting our special video presentation of Live Ricky 5, which will happen just after Easter. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information.
Couple last things on the game.
Yep.
I thought it was a good transition defense game.
Mm-hmm.
It helps when you keep scoring and they don't have an opportunity to do it. And Chicago seemed to give up on not just this game, but possibly their season at some point during this game. But they still just too easily double, man. They just too easily give it up, like all the time. Vucevic gets the ball in the post, and he doesn't have to do anything. They're already starting to leave their guys to just be there. And it's just one pass to Pat Williams for a wide open 3, and George Niang can't get there fast enough because he's in the paint. I just don't know why you're giving that to them. I really don't understand. But I thought it was a nice, dangerously nice Daniel House. A few moments there. Driving baseline, finds a rolling Embiid. That was nice. A few plays later, Joel with some fancy dribbling in transition hits House for a transition dunk. He has been shooting threes off the catch, which is something nice.
Jonathan Simmons, Daniel House in his head sees a different player than everyone else sees.
No, absolutely. He's a better shooter than Jonathan Simmons is.
Yeah. But there is that serious, he's making moves, and
Yeah.
you're like, wait a minute, you can't make that move.
Yeah.
And then he turns it over and
But
misses a shot. or
Yeah, but I
something.
do like the occasional, like, I'm going to dunk on this person.
Yes,
like I'm
for
Dominique
sure.
Wilkins in my prime. Like
yeah, I like that part.
I like that part now. I think it's helpful. But yes, absolutely, he's gonna play for 25 seconds in a playoff game, do something insane, and get pulled very quickly. Thought it was a good PJ Tucker game.
Yes, it was.
It was a very nice, my favorite thing. He hit a 3 that was not in the dead corner. Did you notice that?
It wasn't a 3. It ended up being a 2.
Oh,
The one that
didn't
he
know that.
the one that they like dared him to take, and
Yes.
he stepped back. It ended up foot on the line.
That's a really tough hit for me. That's so
It
sad
was-
to hear
it was
because I
in the
liked it
corner,
so
it
much. I was like,
would've been
wait,
a
that's
three.
like not exactly the corner. That's like a little bit up. That's almost the wing. That's like
And of
almost the
course,
wing, bud.
He stepped on the fucking
Keep
line.
inching up, and he's like, that's why I stepped on the line. So that's why you don't want me to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But I'm glad. I thought it was solid. And it's nice to have this team between PJ, between Melton, between Paul Reed, and the occasional and
rotation players.
Jalen-
We got rotation players.
we got rotation players that like will get a 50-50 ball.
Yeah.
And that's nice to see. Jalen McDaniels, when he's healthy, like the guys that can just like be long and athletic and outjump people, because there were times before Paul was in the rotation, before Jalen got here, when PJ was looking dead, where it was just Melton and like everybody else was just like in a walker and just like hoping that the ball would fall into them, and everybody else just getting like out rebounded, out toughed, out physical, out juiced everywhere. And so I'm glad that there's a few more guys in there. This does not mean anything because I hope he doesn't play, because I hope it's just B-ball Paul, but like I do think Dwayne Dedmon is okay.
He's been fine.
I think he's okay.
He's been fine.
In a world where like, I mean,
If everybody's trying, I don't know how it's going to be, but he's been fine in the
Yeah.
games that we've seen so far.
he's big, he's long,
Yeah.
he knows what he's supposed to do.
got
He
a
missed
hook
a couple
shot.
shots tonight, like in like floater range over like Andre Drummond, whatever. But the idea that Embiid is going to have a fully healthy playoffs, I hope is the case, obviously. But like,
It seems unlikely.
odds are there's going to be a game or two that Joel misses from whatever freak accident we have to suffer through. And then Dedmon becomes like a 22-minute a game guy in those times. So at least he'll be setting screens, he'll be rebounding, he'll be catching, maybe whatever is just short of a lob. And he had a nice block on Zach LaVine. I thought that was like a good, like, okay, like when the Sixers got him, it was, hey, yeah, he's been looking bad, but he's been dealing with this like foot thing, and we think he's past that. And so I was like, okay, let's see if they're right. But rising up to block Zach LaVine is not something that like, Trez wouldn't have done. So I'm at least reasonably pleased about that. And then I got to say it, Spike, Jaden Springer,
Oh my God. I can't believe we're doing everybody on the whole roster.
just Jaden Springer.
Okay.
Every time he comes in garbage time, he does something good. Every time he does something good, he shows something in stints. I still need the catch and shoot threes. I'm dying for catch and shoot threes. It seems like the balls never get swung to him. Obviously, he's playing with like bench guys that don't
He's
like
not even going to
attract
be on
double
the
teams.
Sixers next year.
He is going to be on the Sixers next year, and he's going to be in the rotation.
No,
He's in, yeah, and I'm going to need. We're going to in 3 months or 4 months, whenever summer league is, I'm going to need him to destroy in summer league. I want him to put someone into the basket and like pants them and embarrass them in Vegas. I want to be there for it. I'm very excited about that. He's not going to play in the playoffs. Obviously, we know that. Okay, if maybe I wouldn't mind him for a possession or two, but it's not going to happen. But next season, he's absolutely in the rotation.
That's unlikely. So the Sixers are now half a game behind the Celtics for the 2 seed. Celtics are 50-23, and the Sixers are 49-23. Games remaining, and this was before tonight. The Sixers have the toughest schedule remaining in the NBA with a .559 win percentage of their opponents.
Yeah.
The Celtics have the 16th toughest, and the Bucks have the 17th toughest. If we see any if Embiid misses 2 or 3 games or something, I think they can pretty much kiss the 2 seed goodbye. But we'll see. It would have been nice to get the 2 seed. I thought it was more important, I think, than many people did, but I thought it was important.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want them to keep playing well. To me, it's if they're healthy, and we'll see. it'd be nice to get the 2 seed. It'd be nice to have the home court, but the Sixers do have the best road record in the league. I think we've seen them be capable of winning games that they shouldn't and losing games that they absolutely should win. So they're gonna have to beat tough teams. They're gonna have to beat tough teams on the road.
Mm-hmm.
When they're playing at their best, they have the best or one of the best offenses in the league, and their defense to me has not shown that like high level ability to kind of stop anybody. And it's really like, it's a lot of it is Harden ball watching. It really is. Like, I think he's a better defensive one-on-one guy than sometimes when he's locked in than people give him credit for, but he really just like watches guys on defense, and other guys are reacting to and miscommunicating off of that like, oh, this guy's like just sort of like looking at the ball and like kind of pointing at something, and somebody is like expected to like follow what he's talking about. And it just happens too often where they just miscommunicate, and all of a sudden somebody cuts one way and somebody goes with that, and then Harden thinks he's with that guy, but that guy's with that guy, and it's just like, well, what are we doing? So to me, the defense still isn't there where I go like, yeah, no matter what seed we can beat anybody, but Embiid's still Embiid, and they have a bunch of guys that compete on the defensive end, and let's see if the communication gets better once Maxi's been better obviously, but once Harden really like decides to pay attention on defense, let's see if it improves.
We will get to the mailbags and the voicemail, and I have an official statement regarding JJ Redick right after we talk to you about Body Bio. There's going to be a contest at Live Reiki 5 that Mike, a listener contest, is an attendee contest in which the winner will get a Body Bio prize pack. Mike, it'll be full of E-Light. It'll be full of Gut Plus. It'll be full of all of the great products that Body Bio is serving you with. Body Bio is a company that wants to make you healthier. Body Bio helped me as I use E-Light. I've actually started, as Mike from Body Bio calls it, mainlining E-Light. I don't put it in a drink anymore. I swig it at night and swig it in the morning. It's very salty, very, very salty when you do it directly like that, but it helps. E-Light helps your hydration. Hydration is not just water, right? You need electrolytes, you need balance. And E-Light gives you that balance without sugar, without artificial colors, without artificial flavors, just straight electrolytes. Help me. Help my what's it called?
Cramps.
Help my cramping problem that I had in my legs, I had my abdomen sometime. And then there's Gut Plus, the only gut supplement that you need that has helped Mike out immeasurably over the last several months.
Both of them. I've been trying to get my dad on Gut Plus, on
oh really?
E-Light also, because he cramps after basketball. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you got to take the E-Light. Gut Plus is very quickly a prebiotic and a postbiotic. Essentially what it does is it gets rid of all the bacteria in your gut. It allows your gut to produce its normal probiotics, so you don't have to take a probiotic supplement, and it gets rid of all of those nasty little things that you want a gut supplement to get rid of. The bloat, help you be more regular, all that kind of stuff. We trust Body Bio. I love Body Bio, family-owned, family-operated company. What I want you to do is go to bodybio.com and use code FIRECJ for 20% off. That is FIRECJ for 20% off. Bodybio.com. Mike, we got a lot of good feedback on our last podcast. Of course, you being back in, the evisceration.
Not technically true.
In a new place, right? But not back, but somewhere you've never been before. It was
and immediately losing one of the ugliest offensive games of all time.
For sure. And then I went on sort of like a torrid rant about fuck everybody. It's one of those things. And I laid into JJ Redick, and I got a lot of positive feedback on laying into JJ Redick. But one thing I received a bunch of emails about, and I actually saw a Reddit thing about, was that the place where I went too far was that I shouldn't have laughed about him and his conflict with Kendrick Perkins. It's like, no, JJ was actually right in his argument with Kendrick Perkins. I started thinking more about JJ Redick. And over the years, I've heard so many people talk about former player announcers and talk about how they suck, and former coach announcers. Charles Barkley, oh, he sucks. He doesn't know anything. Shaq, he sucks. He doesn't know anything. Kenny Smith, he sucks. He doesn't know anything. The Van Gundys, they suck. They don't know anything. Chris Webber, Reggie Miller, they suck. He doesn't know anything. And along comes JJ Redick, and everybody says, oh my God, JJ's right about everything. JJ's like, he's fucking great. And all JJ Redick has ever done is read online basketball media and spit it right back to you. So everybody who liked JJ Redick just like hearing the things that they said back to them. There's no way that JJ Redick is right about everything. And Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, Chris Webber, the Van Gundy's, they're all wrong about everything. And then he kept doing it. He kept looking online and saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to fucking yell at Mad Dog Russo about how dumb he is about sports. Ha, 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 ha. Everybody loves it. Now I'm going to yell at Stephen A. Smith. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Everybody loves it. And then he's looking online and he's like, everybody thinks Jokic is the best. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a video about how everybody who doesn't think Jokic is good is a dumb fuck. Ha, 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 ha. So then Kendrick Perkins comes out. And Kendrick Perkins suggests that there may be racial bias. And he never called anyone racist. Kendrick Perkins suggests that maybe giving Nikola Jokic an MVP for the third straight time, something that Michael Jordan never got or LeBron James never got, from a mostly white media, maybe there's racial bias. And JJ Redick is looking online and everyone is just slamming Kendrick Perkins. So he goes on TV and he just fucking tries to eviscerate Kendrick Perkins. Now, we're talking about the same JJ Redick who said that all of the negative press for LeBron and Kevin Durant about their decisions was fueled by racism. That is what JJ Redick said. JJ Redick telling everybody else what is racist. JJ Redick also, during the George Floyd stuff, the police are racist and the Republicans are racist and the Oscars are racist. JJ Redick, JJ Redick, JJ Redick. Everything's racist. Then a black former basketball player who was in the media, who played in a mostly black league, had a question about a mostly white media giving a player an honor that the greatest black basketball players in history have never gotten. And instead of JJ Redick listening and thinking maybe, possibly, I could be doing something racist, he fucking shouted that guy down. And it was the one time that reading everything online and spitting it back at people didn't work for him. And now he's fucked. And now everybody's turning on him. The audience is turning on him. Stephen A. Smith is turning on. Everybody's fucking turning on him. And I will not allow everyone who told me how fucking great he was to forget that they told me he was great. And he has been a fucking phony the entire time. To look a black person in the eye on ESPN and tell him what is racist and what is not racist after you have paraded around for years accusing anyone who would listen of people being racist is fucking ridiculous. The guy sucks. He's a phony. He's a fraud. He wasn't even that good a basketball player. And he's always been this person. He's always been this person. So I am glad that he looked stupid arguing with Kendrick Perkins. And whether Kendrick Perkins, I don't know what is racist and what's not racist. I don't know who votes and who doesn't vote, or why they vote one way or why they don't vote another way. All I know is that it is not crazy to bring it up, and the way he handled that was inappropriate, and he sucks.
There you go.
That's what I got.
I don't listen to I just don't watch the take. I think he's just good on a broadcast.
I think he sucks on that. But the broadcast too. I think like all he's doing is spitting the same.
I think you're spinning that to why I don't like Charles and Shaq is because they obviously don't try. They're obviously not like reading and learning and like paying attention to like what teams players are on or like anything. They're obviously just being like, I can just be charismatic and like we have a fun vibe, and they do. And for some people like that, but like it frustrates me that they're like so actively just like regurgitating the same shit. And that JJ and like Richard Jefferson, seem to like give more of a shit about like, what is happening in the league and not just going like the same stuff that all like old guys say is I think better, but I don't watch the First Take stuff. So, but yeah, I think there absolutely is racial bias in everything, including the MVP voting for sure.
Well, whether there is or not, I guess my point is you can't run around accusing people of racism all the time like he has.
I haven't heard him. I guess I don't listen to JJ talk that much. I haven't heard him.
I'll send you the plenty of links. You can't run around talking
about the Oscars. Everybody is he commenting that much?
I probably added in the Oscars.
Just feels like you were listing a lot of things that he was commenting on. I don't remember him saying that much.
But he has. And in fact, here's my favorite one. Was a couple of years ago. This is one of my favorite quotes from him, who did not listen. He said, I would say, first of all, I don't think it's just the past few weeks I've been involved in this. I felt like a lot of more people need to speak up since George Floyd was murdered. But this is not something that's new for me. I don't think it's new for me. A lot of the stuff Chelsea and I have done in the past have not been public, and that's intentional. I think in trying to listen, especially listen to Black voices, you have to figure out when you should step aside.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely true.
And I just think it's funny.
It's a weird situation that he was.
It's just
being like, now's the time I'm going to argue that it's actually not that at all.
Right. And again, like whether any of these things are racist, I cast no judgment on those things. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that was an improper reaction to what Kendrick Perkins said, especially because I thought what Kendrick Perkins said was not quite as inflammatory as it was presented. Like he didn't run around pointing and saying racist, racist, racist. So that's all I'm saying is that it wasn't crazy for him to suggest that it might be possible. And the idea that you can walk around and say other people are racist, but when the finger gets pointed at you, and by the way, like this is why so many media people were outraged at what Kendrick Perkins said, is because he shined the light back on them. These are back on you. Like, what is going on here? This is weird. And everybody was like, how dare you suggest that might be possible? Anyway, email or voicemail? What do you want first? I feel
email.
Like we can. Email. All right. This comes from, oh boy, that's really long, but it's good. This comes from Becca. Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Dear Adam, Abby, Zoe, MOC, and AU.
Wow.
I feel the need to ramble about Daryl and his impact on the league. Since the Harden-Houston era, I've had major problems with Daryl and the annoying way media members follow his ideologies, but I'll keep it respectful. The take is this. Daryl Morey almost single-handedly is responsible for the spread of analytics and the rise of dorkism in the NBA, and I feel the Sixers fans don't even realize this. The intellectual superiority and haughtiness found in analysts like Michael Pina is all because of Daryl's persona and the creation of the Sloan Conference. Daryl has given rise to the notion that the NBA can be broken down into a math equation like it's Moneyball, which directly created the Jokic three-peat situation. In business, updating your priors is the last thing people want to do, which is why these nerds so staunchly make absolute statements. They can't comprehend that their models were flawed in any way and led to the wrong conclusion. In fact, Pina unintentionally leaked the subconscious thought that every nerd like him and Andy Bailey shares. He said Jokic would win MVP every year if the award was voted on by robots who don't factor in voter fatigue. That's it. If they had their way, the NBA would be robotically boiled down to whichever team and player had the best advanced analytics. Enough with this bullshit. We're losing the spirit of what makes basketball fun. As Michael Irvin once said, we're losing recipes. What do you think of Becca's take?
I just think that like anybody still arguing that like it's either you watch the games or you do the analytics is like stuck in an argument from 10 years ago. It's just not the case. Like everybody that is worth listening to, including Daryl, even when he's at his most annoying, is doing both. Like Absolutely, there are, and there are statistics and analytics that we don't have access to that teams do. Obviously, defense in the NBA, even in baseball, it's harder to quantify than offense. It is not, the publicly available stats are not good and not really worth paying attention to in any way. There are some analytics and numbers and on-off splits and everything that can shine a light on, like, oh, this is something that you might not have realized and is worth checking out more and figuring out more and seeing, like, is there something to it, and does it conflict with something that your eyes are telling you? But like, there's no one out there that's doing just one thing, or and if there are, then they're fucking idiots. But like, it's just like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just, the eye test guys being like, fucking, 10 years ago, Monte Ellis was like an all-star. It's like, well, that he wasn't. Like, he was a chucker who didn't do much else. Like, those kinds of people was like that. They were like not seeing the game from multiple levels. And the people that if you're just using catch-all, all-in-one analytics stats are the same. And there's just not that many people that are like respectable or worth listening to that are only doing one. It's just like, but we're in the future now. It's 2023. Like, people aren't doing that.
Her specific point that he is responsible for the people, the way.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Sloan. That. Sure,
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that. I think it is. There is a ton of irony in me at this point hating analytics, given where we came from. But I think what it did was, maybe she didn't. Maybe this isn't what she meant, or maybe she didn't whittle it down to this. I think the rise of numbers made people think that they could prove things and win arguments by specifically saying this number makes this true, rather than like sort of the nuance of watching. I agree.
But people did that all the time. People do that with rudimentary numbers.
But that's a good point.
People do the same. It's the same stuff. It's like people going, like, kids these days, they're all like caught up on their numbers. But people were dumb people, or people with bad arguments will find, no matter what the like hot statistic of the day or the hot like technology of whatever the fuck, they're gonna since the beginning of time, people have been making bad arguments with faulty logic.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Didn't mean to rile you up.
Just feels like people. It's just like I don't like that it's becoming the like. Jokic is the analytics guy and Embiid is the watch the games guy. I just think it's more specific than that, because Embiid is beloved by the analytics. Like, all the numbers are telling you, like, even the bad ones are saying, like, this guy's the man. He's fucking awesome. He's incredible, and he is. And it's also that, like, they're just both excellent players. Like, it's just, they're both incredibly excellent players in very different ways, playing the same position, doing very different things from it, and it shouldn't be 3-0 MVPs. They're both fucking awesome. And Embiid is significantly better on one side of the ball, and he's also leading the league in scoring on the other side. So it's like, come on.
I think the big data point that Jokic, what's the word? That people who argue for Jokic made the mistake on was when they were fooled by the defensive metrics. Yeah, I think and Zach, who is incredibly smart and watches more basketball than I ever will, and understands the numbers better than I ever would, also fell for it. He, like, I remember last year, he was like, well, my eyes tell me he's not that great a defender, but I see these numbers and they must mean something. And it's like, well, actually they don't. I think Jokic's defensive metrics compared to the eye test is sort of like a moment that thing broke a little bit.
But I think if you ask Daryl, any like publicly available defensive statistic aside from like steals and blocks percentage doesn't tell you the full story. Like, Embiid caused Pat Beverly to travel today when he switched on him.
I know that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the defensive metrics don't, but
I know, but I think people admit that, and then they still go, but they're all saying something, and that's the thing that Mike O'Connor was made the good point of is like, they're all saying something because they're all predicated on like the same
thing,
like basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and truly, Jokic is fucking awesome. He's an incredible player, and I really enjoy watching him. Like, he's very good.
He's definitely a top 10 player in the league.
Sure, yeah. So is Embiid. They're both very good. They're both the man. It's awesome. It's a crazy cool time to be alive, and we should just not give all the cookies to one guy.
I don't know if it's that good a time to be alive.
To watch basketball. It's a
Yeah.
great time to
Okay.
be
Fair.
alive.
I wanted to get to this voicemail specifically because I thought, given the tournament happening and all that kind of stuff, I'd like to hear your take on it. 833 Lickface. 833 Lickface.
Hey guys, first time, long time. Wanted to call first question. Saw something on Twitter saying if you put Giannis on a 16 seed in the NCAA tournament, do they win? Curious as to your guys' thoughts on that and like how many NBA players could win. And then second and more importantly, I was wondering, Embiid is the MVP, obviously. We don't need to talk about that. But in years past, he's been second team All-NBA, and there's been the debate of, okay, well, we're not going to put him at power forward because he plays center.
Oh no.
No, that was
back.
it.
We're back to the positions.
Let's not do
Spike.
that. Let's
We're
do
back to the positions.
Let's do the Giannis on a 16 seed, and then how many NBA players? How many? Like, I'll go through the top scorers in the NBA.
No, we don't need to do it.
Okay.
Yes, Giannis on the 16th seed would win the national championship. Absolutely.
How,
And I think the top like 200 players in the NBA probably would.
really.
Yeah.
So De'Aaron Fox,
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%. Yes.
Jalen Brunson,
Yes. Deeply yes. Go lower. Like
Bojan Bogdanovic.
yes, 100%. Absolutely.
Terry
I think
Rozier,
at the
yes.
very least would, they're won games. So like,
Yeah.
could they lose?
RJ Barrett.
I don't like RJ Barrett. But yes, absolutely. Absolutely RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett 5 years ago or whatever was a vital cog on a
Montrezl Harrell.
a big team. No. Not a chance. No.
Okay.
Montrezl Harrell will be the least athletic player on the court at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like guys in the NBA, especially if they've been in the NBA for a number of years and they're starting NBA games, are so good.
Yeah.
And college basketball players
Physically
are
strong, by
just
the way.
not that good, especially so many of them.
Yeah.
And you put whoever around, enough guys that can either dunk or shoot or whatever their good enough college skill is, they're going to be very good. Yeah, I think there's a chance that they could, get upset or something. But yes, absolutely.
All right, we'll be back Saturday, I believe. Saturday morning. And
I think it's Sunday.
is it Sunday morning?
I think it's Sunday because
Oh yeah.
we have the Warriors on Friday night. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Warriors on Friday night and then the Suns on Saturday night.
Saturday.
So those are tough games.
Yep.
We'll see the status of the Cavs of our two best players. Interesting time.
Talk to you then. Are you done with TTP?